Welcome. I am the one and only MSJ, Max for short, and welcome to my YouTube channel. And in this video, I will be doing a marathon video where charting my journey through the Evil Bong movies. But before I go any further, I need you to click subscribe, hit the bell to stay notified for any future videos I will be creating right here on this channel. Leave a like and as well as leave a comment because I want to hear what you have to say. And if you have seen any of these movies, I want to hear what you have to say about this series. Because this series is very polarizing, I should say, and at least, especially the first few installments are actually pretty fun, and then it kind of dives into kind of a weird territory of like it just depends on who you are, I think. Okay, so. But before I end this intro and go into watching these movies, is that I have this really cool box set that has all the movies in there, including Evil Bong versus the Gingerdead Man and Wheaties, all on Blu-ray. And I got it signed by Charles Band and the actress that's in all of these movies. Totally drawing a blank on her name. I'll kind of mention it later on the review for sure. And as well as I got it numbered. 16 out of 20. I do believe that is a 16. If you were one of the first 200 to buy this off the Full Moon website, you got it autographed and numbered. So I just really like that. And so let's just get this marathon video up and running with the first installment, Evil Bong. I will be right back to tell you what you need to know, and as well as start my journey, like I said, into the Evil Bong franchise. I just got done watching the first installment of Evil Bong franchise, Evil Bong, and let me just say real quick that it has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end, and it has a pretty decent flow of plot structure throughout the movie, because in the later sequels the plot and the structure of the films kind of start to kind of just disappear and they just whatever happens. But basically the plot of this movie is like you have this kind of nerdy geeky guy named Alistair who is in need of a room, and a room that is for rent is for hell is from these bunch of stoners and this ex-jock, and in doing so allows our lead stoner, you'll recognize him from like the American Pie movies like Beta House and The Naked Mile and stuff like that. Those American Pie movies. He finally gets to buy the bong that he's always wanted, which is you can see behind me. But when the bong comes, it's not as what you see right there. It's kind of just a blue vase, and so but every time you smoke from it, it changes because it sucks your soul into this bong world, which is just a strip club. And then you end up getting killed, and then her design subtly changes throughout the movie, and even our characters in the movie start to notice it and everything. And it's a lot of fun. It's just fun. Like when you kind of get into the later movies, it's more for the hardcore fans, but this first installment is definitely for maybe just if you want to just have fun with a group of friends and kind of riff on a movie. This first one is very, very good for that, but the later sequels are definitely for more of the hardcore Evil Bong movie fans. So that's really all I gotta say. It's a lot of fun. Don't take this series too seriously. Just like I keep saying, just have fun. And I'm gonna jump right into watching Evil Bong 2 King Bong. 2 down, 7 to go. I just watched the second installment in the Evil Bong movies, King Bong. Just to tell you what you need to know real quick is that this is definitely a step up from the first one, even though I still think the first one is still the best. But this one has a lot of good qualities as well. I mean, the production value has definitely stepped up. The acting is still pretty decent. The music, definitely not as good. I think some of the background songs were much better in the first one. I think the humor, I didn't really talk about that in when I first watched the first movie, but the humor overall in this one, I think it's a little bit more of a step up as well. Even though I think they're about the same in terms of how many laughs I got out of, but I think in terms of like the writing of the humor, I think this one got a little bit more better of, not all the jokes hit, but at least they were doing a little bit more better writing, let's put it that way. um it was a lot of fun. The special effects were much better. Most of the actors and actresses returned for this movie, except for our basically our lead geek or nerd Alistair. He didn't return from the first movie, so they got a new actor. But the Bachman, Larnell, and Brett and Rabbit, even the voice of Evie, they all returned. Um, Basically, the synopsis for this one is that from the first movie, they all are suffering side effects of their trip to Bong World. Basically, like one is very narcoleptic, one can't stop eating, one has very lowered inhibition. So it's very all like, and they're all very exaggerated effects of smoking weed and stuff like that. So it's really funny how they do it in that way. So we need to find the origin of this evil bong, and so they travel to South America and they kind of get in some shenanigans along the way while they're down there. But eventually they have to face King Bong himself, and he has some of the better lines in the movie. Obviously, when you watch the movie, his lines were definitely done post production. They were ADR. They were definitely not done beforehand. Because some of the stuff that he was commenting on, obviously, like, oh, he definitely was done on a later time in the production. So that was pretty fun, at least to be able to have a little bit more, so it wasn't so scripted. You can tell the actor who was doing the voice for King Bong was having a lot of fun doing it. So that's really all I gotta say about the second installment. It's still pretty fun to watch. I think if you were needing a good double feature, I think these two would work really well. I'm about to start Evil Bong 3, Wrath of Bong. I do not remember nothing about this one. I really honestly do not remember anything. So this is gonna be a fun watch. Like I said, this one was pretty good. Definitely not as bad as the first one, but there were some steps up in terms of other things from the first one. So now on to Evil Bong 3, Wrath of Bong. All right. I just got done watching Evil Bong 3, The Wrath of Bong. Let me just give you the synopsis real quick. It's just a space bong, as you can see right here, which I really like the design of this bong for this movie. And I think it's really cool looking, and within the realm of the movie as well. It's very bright and very distinct, and it stands out. It crash lands on Earth and wants to kind of take over the world, and has this really disgusting plan in order to do it. So, and once again, our heroes, you get Larnell, Brett, and Bachman back, the original actors playing those. And once again, Alistair is played by a different character. And there's kind of a running joke between the last two movies. Like, there's at the very beginning of the movie when Larnell and Alistair first meets each other, he's constantly, even in the very first movie, he's confusing him to be with a cop or an undercover agent or something like that. And once he sees who it is, it's like, oh, it's you. And then Larnell's like, oh, you look different. And it's obviously played by a different actor. And that's like one of the few big laughs that gets me out of this movie. But it's just isn't very good. I just don't like it. I do like all the actors in this movie. They seem like they're just kind of phoning it in this one. Just to be honest with you, it seemed like they had a lot of fun making the first one. This one, you can tell the production value has dropped a lot, and they're really basically in another soundstage, kind of like the first movie, but it's only like it's kind of like in a head shop, and so it's just the front part of the store, the back room, and then Bong World. And Bong World has really shrank down to just a chair and some neon lights and black lights and like body paint and stuff like that. and it just kind of like it's kind of just the production has kind of just dropped considerably in this movie. I know this movie is supposed to be in 3D, so probably some of the production kind of was going to go for that. But I, as much as I kind of talked about the production value of the first two movies, you'll notice a big, huge drop off in production value in this. You'll notice it big time. Um, I know I'm ragging on this movie, but it's like there is some good moments in the movie. Like I mentioned, the design of the Evil Bong. If you're a fan of Creepshow, there's kind of like a kind of a homage to that. If you've seen the one with Stephen King, Geordie, you know, he finds a meteorite and like fungus starts to kind of grow everywhere, and he's kind of getting it all over himself, and it's kind of taking over, and it's kind of a small plot line throughout this movie, and I think it's more of just a homage to that particular short story in the first Creepshow. So I really like that. I thought that was pretty good, but overall, this movie it's kind of forgettable. I now I understand why I don't remember anything about this movie. It's because there really isn't anything memorable about it. So now the next one isn't a fourth installment. The next one is actually a crossover movie with the Gingerdead Man. So it's the Evil Bong versus the Gingerdead Man. That is the next movie I will be watching. And well, I've made it to the Gingerdead Man versus the Evil Bong crossover episode movie. I mean, basically, it feels like an episode, but because the Gingerdead Man does show up in the later sequels of this series, and he did have a cameo way back in the first Evil Bong movie back in Bong World. So I think they weren't I think that was just kind of more of a throwaway gag in the first one, but now it's like he's truly part of the canon of this series. Now, I've been kind of holding off on talking about a particular character due to the fact that she has two characters in this movie. Robin Sidney, who is the actress who also has signed this box set when I was talking way back in the beginning of this video, in the intro. She is the actress whose name I had forgotten. She is playing two characters in this movie. She's playing Luann, who is the character from the previous Evil Bong movies, and the character from the Gingerdead Man series. She is the reason why he is the Gingerdead Man, who was originally played by Gary Busey. So, and if you do not know either one of these characters, this movie does a pretty decent job of catching you up on each of the movie. But my biggest problem is that it eats up runtime when it could have been used for other things. But also, this movie actually has its first real confirmed kills, I think, because in the previous Evil Bong movies, no one really truly dies. Like, even though they kind of get sent off to Bong World, but when EB gets destroyed or some convoluted way, they end up getting kicked out of Bong World or whatever. No one really truly dies. And in this one, like, people are actually getting stabbed and bong shoved through their necks, and so people are actually getting killed in this one. So that's really all I gotta say. It does start out kind of slow, and once the Gingerdead Man starts to kind of kill people and kind of interact with the Evil Bong and go in the Bong World and stuff like that, that's when the movie really starts to shine and stuff like that. Like I mentioned in the previous part of this video, I think this is the point where this is mainly for the hardcore fans. Okay, this is where it starts getting into, like, if you're really into this series now. It's like the first three installments are mainly for if you had a friend who was just like, say me, just kind of introducing this series to somebody, you would probably show them the first three, and then maybe this one, because this one does a pretty good job of catching you up on who the characters are, the main villains of this story. But anything further than this, I think you're really going to have to be a hardcore fan. So that's really all I gotta say about this one. But, oh yeah, the acting's actually pretty decent. The special effects are not too bad. The Gingerdead Man effects are basically kind of like the annoying orange, where they kind of just superimpose a mouth over like an inanimate object. So that's really all I gotta say. I'm getting ready to get on to the actual fourth installment, Evil Bong 420. Clocking in at 53 minutes is Evil Bong 420. And it really works into this movie's favor. It really does, because there's a lot that goes on in this movie, but that's the problem, that you have to know what goes on in the previous movies. There's no little flashback like it happened in the from Evil Bong 2 to the Gingerdead Man versus the Evil Bong. There's some flashback scenes that kind of catch you up. This one is straight up. You have to be a fan. You have to know what's going on in the previous movies to kind of know what's going on. You can kind of guess what's going on, but to really fully, truly get what to the full experience of it all, you have to know what's going on in the previous movie, have seen the previous movies. So that's one con in the column of this movie, but I think the short runtime really works in its favor. You basically just need to know that Rabbit has escaped Bong World. Larnell has a little love triangle going on with the two lead female cast members of the previous movies. You got the Gingerdead Man trying to escape Bong World because he wants to kind of like really start to kill people again rather than these fake fantasies. You got it's set in a bowling alley, so it's out of this fake head shop set, so it feels more livelier and bigger, and it keeps cutting to like patrons that are actually bowling, and kind of makes the whole atmosphere seem more livelier and more real, and just overall it just has a better vibe than the previous two movies. It just seems better, and this is like, to me, the best. This is the third best so far. You got Evil Bong 1, King Bong, and then you got 420. Though that's my ranking so far. Then you got the Gingerdead Man versus Evil Bong, and then 3 as of right now. So that's really all I gotta say. The acting's pretty good. The music's good. The special effects have gotten better. Okay, so I need to bring this up. I have not talked about this at all. And so from back in Evil Bong 1, Larnell is playing Super Mario Brothers, okay, on the Nintendo. And I'm for sure probably know for a fact that they do not have the license to put that in their movie. They cut out, if you've ever seen the movies where they kind of block out symbols and like product placements and stuff like that, and like they put like a little symbol over the apple on the computer, or they kind of make fake labels, or they just kind of just straight up just take the first letter off. So like there's a box of Lucky Charms in the first movie, but they just can't take out the L, so it's like Ucky Charms. And so it's like they get away with it because it's not, like, they kind of blocked it out a little bit. Now there's a device in this movie. It's kind of like a weed blower. So it basically kind of cooks the weed. It kind of ignites the weed and blows weed smoke all over. So it's kind of like like a fog machine, basically, for weed smoke. But the sound that it makes is the proton packs from Ghostbusters, and I just love that sound. And every time it pops up, I'm just immediately thinking of Ghostbusters. So that's really all I gotta say for this installment. So let's get on to watching Evil Bong 5 High Five. All right, I'm going on a huge rant. This is probably gonna be the longest review on this episode, because I have a lot to say about Evil Bong High Five. Okay, it's an hour and 10 minutes long. Okay, the previous movie was 53 minutes long, and I had so much fun watching that movie. What happened with this one? Okay, it took whatever I liked about the previous installment, like it was in the bowling alley, so it was like a real world setting. It didn't seem like a set. I really liked that. Had like real like it seemed like the world was alive with showing patrons and stuff like that. Kind of, and then also intercutting EB and trying to keep the Gingerdead Man in Bong world in that movie. So, and ultimately fails, and which leads to High Five, where they've all been recaptured and brought back to Bong World, and that's where we're trying to figure out how they're trying to escape, and so they finally just strike a deal with EB. It's like, well, like make me $1 million so I can take over the world, and well, however, and they're like, okay, and but if you fail, you're gonna be stuck in Bong World for the rest forever, and blah blah blah. Okay, it's like we've heard it before, so and we are brought out of Bong World back to the head shop, and we get to see the same customers again, doing the same old shtick that they've been doing for 6 movies now, and it's just kind of like, okay, like this is the time we could have used something really really fresh, or like go back to the bowling alley, or maybe if that set wasn't available, kind of do something a little bit more different. I know these are low budget movies and stuff like that. I completely understand that, but it's just like, come on, it's like we've seen the head shop. I really liked the bowling alley location, and I really, really liked that. I thought that was a really good um, way to freshen up the series. But if they had to go back to the head shop, I was okay with that. But they needed a new group of characters. They could have redressed the same actors playing different characters, and I would have loved that. Like how they did in Clerks. It's like the Walt Flanagan plays like 4 or 5 different characters in that movie. They just redressed him. He plays a guidance counselor. What's his name? Who sings Berserker outside the front, and he's also like kind of a rude customer, or a customer Randall makes like shows a pornographic magazine to. So it's like he plays several characters in the movie. That'd been great if they just redressed some of the same actors playing different characters. That'd been great. And now, up to this point, I have not really mentioned this particular thing. There's a character named Hambo. I may have mentioned him by name, but what he's trying to do is hawk character statues from the Full Moon movies, and I think that's hilarious. It's a funny way to kind of show everything is connected in the Full Moon Charles Band universe. I absolutely love that. I really think that's funny and great. But what this movie does with that aspect is really terrible. It constantly, when the character shows up on screen, it cuts to this weird transition into the character statue, and it shows you what they're supposed to look like, and then a website pops up. And they do it like 3 or 4 times. They do it for Joe Cracker, the really over exaggerated Asian character, and who else? There's a crack whore. Who else is there? There's another one, Hambo himself, and they do it like 4 times, and like once I could live with, but 4 times in the movie doing that same shtick, and it kind of takes the whole overall vibe away, and then the ending is very like, what is going on? This is the last movie we see Larnell in it. The actor, I don't know if he dies. I think he does. There's really no, I think we'll find out in the next one. I can't remember what the explanation is, but I think he's officially dead, and that's really it. My final verdict for this movie is you could skip it, and you'll be okay. The stuff with the Gingerdead Man, I think it's funny. I say watch it for the Gingerdead Man scenes, just because He's obsessed with this girl who was from the previous movie, and she has moved on, and he's having this like this mental breakdown over the fact that she has moved on, and him reacting to what's going on is funny, and I think that's funny. But I think overall you could skip this movie. It really was um just really unnecessary. And I really hate saying that. I really do. So I'm getting ready to move on to the next installment, which is Evil Bong 666. So hopefully the next installment is much better. I've seen this, but I cannot remember him just because it's been quite some time. Just the first one stands out because I've seen that multiple times, and I've only seen the sequels like only once per sequel. So, all right, so let's move on to Evil Bong 666. I've made it to the end. Evil Bong 777. I did not skip Evil Bong 666. Just these two movies are about an hour long, so I've decided to kind of double feature them to end this video with and to kind of talk about it because the events of Evil Bong 666 go directly into 777. And like I said, they're about an hour long, so I'm like, it's a 2-hour movie, so it equals one movie. So really, with these two movies, that's all. What I'm really just going to say is that these two movies are a definitely refresh of what this series needed, especially after the events of High Five, how abysmal that was, and how terrible it was. These two movies definitely are a good step in the right direction with making things feel different and just feels better. It really does. That's the best way I can describe it, because even though a lot of the characters do show up in these two movies, they're presented in a different way. We get some different locations. You get a different kind of plot line. Like Evil Bong, Evie, she's kind of floating around doing her thing, trying to manipulate and all that good stuff. But we have this new villain, Lucifer, who just wants to kill people and take over sexy hell because Bong World does not exist anymore. And she's trying to take over there, and she kills the devil of sexy hell, which is Beelzebub. And so she's like this really big villain. And that's what goes into 777. She is trying to track down Rabbit, Luann, Misty, I think that's her name, and the Gingerdead Man, who is a new component to the series. So it's just a lot. There's a lot of good stuff going on in these two movies. Like there's these two characters throughout the whole series, basically, or they come into the shop and they try to get free weed, and they're progressively getting worse as the series goes on. They're looking rougher and rougher and rougher, and they finally died. And so seeing them in there and new ghostly forms, it's just fun. And they're just having fun. They're truly having fun with these two movies, which I think was kind of lacking in High Five. So I just like these two movies. They are fun movies to watch. There are some scenes that are a little graphic, but it's played for laughs more than anything. A lot of the characters are kind of toned down. Rabbit was kind of getting on my nerves a little bit, just due to like how he was, but he's kind of toned down in these two movies, which was very nice, and kind of let another character kind of ramp up other things, and it was just a lot of fun. There's just some stuff that just goes on. I don't want to explain due to the fact that I just want you to experience it for yourself. So that's really all I gotta say about these two movies. Just watch them. Now, as I am done with all these movies, I think I still got one more, but I'm saving this one, Wheaties Halloween Night for the 31 Days of Fright. I don't think it's really part of it. It's not. It's not within the series, but it has characters from the Evil Bong movie. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just save it for October. I'm even leaving the cellophane on it, if you can tell. So I'm saving that for October. Now, my biggest takeaway from this entire binge watch was that there was a certain point in the series that it is solely for the fans. I say the first three installments are definitely for maybe the casual viewer, because those three feel more movie quality, I should say, because they do have a three-act structure, beginning, middle, end. A lot of the characters are in all three of them, especially Brett and Bachman. Those three are, and Larnell, those three, and the recasting of Alistair. So those four people throughout those first three movies are really, really good, and makes those first three movies really good, fun to watch. Even though three is kind of weak, but at least it's cohesive. Okay, so four is definitely when it's more for the fans. Five, skip it. And then with these two, you have to be a fan of this series to really kind of get into these two movies. So, and I don't regret buying that big box set. I love it being autographed by Charles Band and Robin Sidney, and I have it numbered. And so I enjoyed watching it from start to finish. I haven't done that in a very long time, watching like a multiple installment movie that has four or more. So that's a lot of fun just to do this. So that's really all I gotta say about this series. Um, it's just, it's fun. It's crude. It's crass, and it doesn't pull no punches. It has weed puns. What else? The acting is not too bad. It doesn't feel corny. The acting does not really feel corny when it comes to our main characters, but you got some of the side characters who just kind of show up. They really ham it up on screen. That's what that adds to it. So it's not like bad acting. It doesn't seem like bad acting. It's just hammed up bad acting, if that makes sense. Okay, so it's really all I gotta say. I enjoy this. I may not do this for a while again, if I can find a new series that I think could be done a little bit easier and a little bit more varying film wise, in terms of plot wise. So because a lot of the same things happen. They go to Bong World quite a bit. They try to get out. Evie is stopped in various ways that's never truly explained, or how they escape. It's just like, how did you escape from Bong World? And it's like, well, it's a rabbit hole, and our main character's name is Rabbit, and so it's like, okay, but they just don't really like truly give you like true explanation. So do not go into this thinking that's highly detailed in that aspect. So, but if you're just looking to have some fun and just kind of show off for a day, the series is pretty fun to start. If you've never seen any of these, I say give it a shot, especially if you kind of think this kind of humor is something that you want to try to get yourself into. Go ahead. Good luck. You probably may get a couple movies in and then probably shut it off, but I'm just being honest with you. But I am a fan of Trauma, and so the humor in this is pretty tame. Compared to what has gone down in Trauma movies. So this is kind of a nice break, but I still like the offensive humor. So that's really all I gotta say. I am the one and only MSJ, Max for short. Once again, click subscribe, hit the bell to stay notified for any future videos I will be creating right here on this channel. Leave a like and leave a comment down below. I want to hear if you've seen any of these movies. I know some of these movies just randomly show up on those like 20 horror movie collections for like $20 you find at Walmart or Target or whatever. I think that's how I watched the first Evil Bong movie. Is it kind of showed up like that. So it's just kind of, you may have seen one of the two of these by accident more than anything. So that's leave a comment down below and let me know if you've seen any of these and if you agree or disagree with any of my comments. And as well as, that's it. That's it. And thank you.